When you notice you keep repeating the same patterns, the same loops, or when you notice like you see the dreams that you want and you just can't get there, the first place I would tell you to look is your birth chart. Your birth chart is just a deeper understanding of what you do and why you do it and what you need more of. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katerina. I take astrology and bring it into lived experience. I help you understand your chart by telling you what loops and patterns you are repeating and how to heal from them. I am a Capricorn rising, so I will speak a lot about Saturn and how that shows up through lived experience, how Saturn shows up if that is your chart ruler. If any of that interests you, then feel free to like this video and subscribe if it calls to you, and check my description box down below because I have my services out and I have a Saturn workbook also. It's also been a while since I last filmed. I said this before in a video last year, but I tend to batch film. It works with my cycle and it also works with just like if it's eclipse season. And this eclipse season, it was like the universe told me film everything in January, because the whole of February I was out. I had a stupid cold and it like my glands were the size of golf balls and it lasted for about 3 weeks. I genuinely couldn't do anything in February. It's so annoying, but it made me go to like a pranic healer and it made me start that journey, which I'm really excited for. So everything happens for a reason, but I was totally out in February. So I'm back filming again and a lot has changed. I have decided to bring out my readings again. It's just something I was struggling with at the beginning of this year, to figure out if I actually really wanted to do that, and I didn't want to give someone a service that like my heart wasn't fully in. And I've like had a long time to like reflect on what I want to do with this and what my purpose is. And funnily enough, I've gone like all the way back to what I was doing last year. I just feel like the thing that excites me is to help people get out of the loops and the patterns they are in. It is deep in our core. It is the reason why we don't pursue certain things. It is the reason why we want to stay in our comfort zone. It is the reason why we are not achieving the things that we want in life. And astrology is just a way to read that for you, to be able to give you such accuracy in a relatively short period of time, to help you fully get out of that loop and achieve the desires and the dreams and the purpose that you were put on this planet to do. Anyway, that's all my jabber. Now let's get into the video. So on my videos specifically about Saturn, I have had a few comments on Saturn in the first house, and I thought, let me just make a video. I have Saturn in the first house. If you are a Capricorn rising and you have Saturn in Capricorn, then it is in your first house. So therefore you're a Saturn chart ruler. Sorry, Saturn rules your life chart. Therefore Saturn rules your chart and also is in your first house. Obviously, any other rising sign, Saturn will fall in your first house. So if you are a Sagittarius rising and you have Saturn in Sagittarius, Saturn will be in your first house. That is using the whole sign basis. I'm going to go with Saturn in the first house first, and then I will speak about if the sign adds something to it. So Saturn in the first house gives you this sense of responsibility from the moment you were born. You really do double check everything you say. You think about everything before you do it. There's no sense of like spontaneity or that childlike freedom. It's something that you just don't feel is the responsible thing to do. Things take time, and you should not do something reckless. Now, when you're a child, it's really hard. It's really hard to understand. You know, when I started to understand Saturn in the first house for my own chart, I was just thinking, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I wasn't the child that would go on a bike and drive around and ride around and jump on things and go down hills. I was petrified. I would think, I'm going to crack my head and fall over. I can't do this. There was no sense of like, it's like I had this burden. And I don't mean that in a horrible way to Saturn. It's just more as in like, when you're an adult, when you're older, you might be worried about going up the stairs if you've had a knee operation or something like that. When you're a child, you're just a child. You don't have that cautious behavior within you. And often when you have Saturn in the first, you were born with that cautious behavior. You were born with this identity, which is like, you don't have the word for responsibility when you're a child. Like, you don't know what that means. And as you age, you start to realize with lived experience that the responsibility is holding you back. And with age, that's why they say Capricorn risings age backwards, because they are born with this like weight of responsibility. But as a child, you don't know how to process that. And as you get older and as wisdom grows, you can realize what's a fun choice, what's a good choice, what's a happy choice, and what is keeping you back. You have that wisdom now. Saturn in the first house, regardless of the sign, can bring that also. Regardless if you're a Capricorn rising, Saturn in the first house will bring that weight of responsibility. And as you grow wisdom, it will eventually get easier to not have that bring you down, if that makes a sense. So how does that manifest into lived experience? Waiting. Saturn in the first house is something that I would see and say, like, they're scared to move. They're scared to move without being told it's okay first. They're scared to move without being told, like with proof. It's like they're sitting there in the doorway of their new life and they're like, hey, can I go yet? Am I allowed to go? And that is Saturn in the first house. Waiting is like a fear, yeah, you are fearing something, but what is the deeper root of that? Well, I don't think I can do it alone, so I need approval from someone else. I need someone else to tell me that it's okay to go, because I don't trust myself. That's what the work that I do is like. It's not just like, oh, you wait, you struggle to move forward. It's like, why do you struggle with that? Like, what is that? Everyone ends up being in the waiting zone in some part of their life out of fear. Fear is like the normal thing, right? But why? Why do we fear it? What is the root cause? What is the deep core, the bottom of the belly? Like, why? What am I waiting for? And you can see if someone is waiting for approval, waiting for proof before they start. There are many different reasons of why people get stuck in that waiting zone. Saturn in the first just shows you why. Saturn in the first just shows you, oh, I actually have to push myself more because I have Saturn in the first, because I have this weight of responsibility in my identity. I have to push myself more than the average person, more than someone who doesn't have Saturn in the first house. But do you know what that builds? That builds trust. That builds resilience. And those are the things that will let your life, like, those are the things that will bring lasting foundations. There's this sense with Saturn in the first that is like waiting for clarity before you move. Hey, is this the right thing to do? Can you let me know, universe? Can you let me know? by sales, whatever it is, like, is this the right thing to do? Or, so with Saturn in the first, you do struggle to move without clarity, but the answer is to move without clarity. Try something, and in the process, you will find out if it is for you or not. The only things that will keep you trapped is if you were waiting for validation from other people. You might go backwards and go back into your little cave and just wait until someone says, hey, it's okay to come out. So when it comes to trying to get out of the waiting zone, when you do have Saturn in the first house, the plan is to just try something new, give it a go. If you immediately don't like it, that's fine. But if you come back being a bit excited, or you've got some feeling where you're like, oh, that was nice, keep going with it and it will come into fruition. You just have to be patient. But what I would say is you can't wait for clarity, because it will never come. You can't wait for validation or approval to start something. It will never come. No one is going to support you as much as you support yourself. And that's not me saying that like the people are shit or something, but it's just when you have your own back, when you support yourself in the endeavors that you want to be in, you are way more likely to succeed, and it is way more likely to be fulfilling too, because other people are fleeting. Other people's energy towards yourself will fluctuate. You will have people saying that's not good, that I don't like that one. You will have people saying, do you really want to do this? Like, is this your path? You have to have your strength, and you have to have trust within yourself that you will get there. But in order to start, you just need to move. You just need to move. Now, when you bring a sign into this, it creates the habit. So, for instance, Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn, it's its domicile, it's its home. But that doesn't make it good. It just makes it's like way more comfortable. Your coping patterns might be around trying to have a tick list every single day, trying to do everything right. And if you don't, you feel like a failure. It's this like constant thing of feeling like you need to do 100 things a day. And if you don't do those things, you automatically feel like you failed. Saturn in Capricorn is the energy of someone who thinks that they can do it all and thinks that they can do it perfectly. But you need to look at the polarity, and that's Cancer. Be a bit lunar with your energy. You don't need to do it all the same every single day. Consistency isn't the same every day. Consistency is you coming back to it. So whether that's once a week, once a month, whatever it is, that's consistency. If you show up once a week for something for 12 months, that is more than showing up 30 days and then stopping. With, say, for instance, one of the comments was Saturn in Cancer. It's the polarity. So like Saturn is at home in Capricorn, the opposite is Cancer. So Saturn's not happy in Cancer. So it might be that you really struggle with showing up for things if your emotions aren't right. Like if you feel Cancer rising as a whole, like I know a few Cancer risings, they need 2 to 3 business days like to be up for doing something, especially if you have like a Cancer moon or a Cancer sun. You naturally will have this tendency to like not be okay with it straight away, but in 2 days you'll be okay with it. Like you'll feel better once you kind of take time to process what you're doing. change is not always something a Cancer loves. So Saturn could potentially be a little bit of a hermit in Cancer. You have this weight of responsibility, but you also have this knowing of people's emotions and their intuition. And you might end up becoming more sensitive to people in a way of like caring what they think about you. Cancer rising is like your whole life is based on lunar energy, you know, up and down, in and out. Like the moon isn't linear. So, and Saturn is linear. Saturn is the mountain. So you would have this fight between climbing the mountain and showing up consistently and being there for your intuitive nature and being there for like your um the lunar energy, the cyclical energy, and it's how you can collaborate them both. So, you know, cycle syncing is probably the best thing for this type of energy, is showing up for yourself. Even if you're not a woman, you could show up for yourself with creative things after the new moon in the waxing phase, and then you could be more inward energy after the full moon. You could literally be there and be like, okay, so after the new moon, I know that it's time to like build something potentially. And it's the same, you could even go for as far as you wanted to with like a new moon in Cancer and a full moon in Cancer. So in the new moon in Cancer, you have a plan. Okay, in 6 months' time, I want to be here. Okay, how can I realistically show up to that, to make that happen in 6 months' time? And how can I show up for it, honoring my lunar energy whilst knowing that I need to move first without clarity? How can I honor that? And that's a task for you to do for yourself. Like, you can take time and really think about that and process and put it into actual work. Don't just create a plan and not do it. Like, let's build foundations. And that starts with just one little thing, but you need to move without clarity first. You need to take a step and then figure out whether you like it or not. Do not create a 6-month plan on something that you haven't actually tried, because you don't know if you'll like it. So it's best to just try, experiment, create new hobbies, do something in your life that you haven't done before. It doesn't have to be drastic. It could be a pottery class, whatever. Like, just figure out what you like through process of elimination. Try lots of things, see what makes you feel excited, and then you'll kind of be able to create a process after that. And because we're now in it, Saturn in Aries, if you are an Aries rising and you have Saturn in Aries, you are going through your Saturn return. If you would like me to do a separate video on Saturn returns, I've lived through it and I'm now living through my Saturn square, then let me know in the comments, and I'm really, really happy to do that. Even if you want me to talk about Saturn square, I can talk about it through like my lived experience right now. But Saturn in Aries, like, Aries is impulsive. Aries wants it done now and wants the results now. There is no patience with Aries. And it's really great to get things started, but it's not so great to see things through. And I really actually do love Saturn in Aries, even though it's in its fall. I do love it because it is the best of both worlds. It's starting something and Saturn is seeing it through. You might get really frustrated with yourself when you haven't achieved certain things within a short period of time. You might get frustrated with the it not happening yet. Like, it might really irritate you. And this is very prevalent for us now. We might be building something, but with Saturn in Aries not leaving until 2028, we might not see the results until then. And this is where devotion comes into play. This is where showing up for yourself and being grounded in the process is the best tool for Saturn in Aries. So start something. Start something now, whether you have Saturn in Aries or not. Just start something. Start something that has been exciting you. Start something that has been on your mind that you would like to give it a go. Start it. And then anytime you feel like giving up, which isn't based on the fact that you don't like it, but you just want to give up, you don't want to do it anymore, you haven't seen results, whatever, you need to have a post-it note, you need to have a note every day that pops up on your phone, a reminder that basically says keep going. This is the energy. Keep going, keep moving. Do not give up just because you haven't seen results, because you will look back and be like, I wish I continued with that. I wanted to end it with one other note of Saturn in the first house, which is the caring what others think, the bit of social anxiety, a bit of choosing the path because you think that's what other people expect of you. It's this responsibility of your outward self in the first house. It is your identity, it is your body. It's not your core self, it's not who you want to be, it's not how you process emotions unless you've got your moon there or you've got your sun there. It is your outer self, it is the identity that you have. And often when you have certain planets, especially outer planets, it can kind of give like you have multiple faces through your life, and it's like the burning of the mask. You need to burn the mask in order to be able to show your true self, and that means choosing the things that are for you. I have stayed in so many things because of other people's opinions, because of what other people expect of me. And a lot of the time, it's my own expectations of what I think other people expect of me. I've set the bar myself. A lot of other people haven't, but I have, because that's what they did. And I expected myself to do the same. When I was younger, I was doing writing and online work. I had about 4 different streams of income online, and they weren't making a ton of money, but they were making a bit. And if I continued with that, I genuinely believe I would have made a lot of money. And you know, we all are here for a reason. I'm here right now because I didn't do that, but I'm just giving you an example. The reason I didn't stick with it is because someone said to me that there's a part-time job available. And you know, I spoke about my illness before, but I did it not because I wanted the part-time job, but because I just didn't want to say no to that person. And then what happened to my side businesses? They all fell because I didn't have the energy outside of the part-time job to do anything else other than recover. That is what I mean when I say like your expectations from other people. You expected that person, like I expected that person to be angry if I said no. So I said yes instead. And that paused what I wanted in my life. I put on another mask. And this is the part of Saturn in the first, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, because I feel like we have this like depiction of Saturn, and that's fine. But also Saturn can be someone who pretends to be someone else, like because they don't want to be unliked. But the core of Saturn, the core of the Great Mother, is just for us to be our most authentic self and build a life based on that. But our most authentic self, first of all, comes with time, but also comes with practice, also comes with trying things. We cannot expect to wake up one day and know our path and know who we are. It takes time. It takes repetitive actions. It takes multiple passions. If I woke up one day and decided I'm going to do astrology, like that day wouldn't have happened. I needed to fall down this myself and figure out, I actually really like reading my own chart. Maybe I should practice reading others, and maybe I should go to like a school for that and understand it. But that was a 6-month process of me getting to that point. That wasn't a you know, a day of waking up knowing my path. It was me dipping my toe into something, fascinated by it, doing a deep dive, and then deciding to go and actually study. I hope this video has been helpful for you. And please let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want me to talk about when it comes to Saturn. It really helps me. Yeah. Saturn in the first house is just a really beautiful blessing the older you get. Like, I am 36, turning 37 this year, and I am at this point where I'm like, okay, I know it's not going to come to fruition like the way that I see it quickly, but I know if I stay on this path, I am going to have it come to fruition. And we have to enjoy life in the process of that. We can't just sit and get down and wait for those days, because again, that's a form of waiting. We have to live whilst we build. If you do want to even just know the loops and patterns, you might not be aware of them, check down below and my voice note reading. At the moment, those spots of full readings are limited. The voice notes are more accessible. I want to leave with this note because I think it's very, very Saturn. My yaya, my great grandmother, she's from, I'm half Cretan, and she passed away this year. She was 104. And she was like an old, wise grandmother. Bear in mind that when I was born, she was 68. I'm her youngest granddaughter, I'm her youngest grandchild. She's got great grandchildren, she's got great great grandchildren, and she's got one great 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 grandchild in the life that she was born, in the life that she lived in. She was so wise and so open and so loving. The older she got, the more like words of power came out of her mouth, the words of love came out of her mouth. When you look at someone who has lived for 104 years, like, our lives don't seem that big. She was Mother Earth, literally. And she had a lot of Capricorn. And, you know, she went through a lot of hardships. But she also went through so many amazing moments and had so much wisdom to share. That wisdom she passed on to us. And I think in those moments, that is when I think about how like grand Saturn is. Saturn is not a quick fix. Saturn is not something that is here today, gone tomorrow. Saturn is holding your hand for the entirety of your life when you have Saturn in the first house. You have to build that relationship on trust. Saturn only wants the best for you, only wants you to become the most authentic, most wise person. And I think that's really beautiful. I don't think that Saturn is like this intense character. I think of Saturn as someone like my yaya. Someone who's teaching you how to cook the food properly. Someone who's giving you wisdom when you're down. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself, and you have to trust outside of yourself. Your path will unveil itself as long as you keep moving. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.